Hey there YouTube, Gabe from Nexus Core here with another One Piece card game video. I'm sorry for the drought when it comes to content. I've been a bit busy. Frankly, there hasn't been a whole lot worth talking about in terms of One Piece reveals. I think people would prefer it if I just went over everything from set 2 down the line. And also, I was a bit busy practicing because this past weekend I was fortunate enough to be able to go to the Super pre-release in my area. I was only able to go to 2 events. I was busy during a lot of the other ones that I wanted to go to for different reasons, but I still managed to go to 2, and I just want to go over everything that I was able to get, everything I was able to do, and how it went. So I think the first thing to go over, though, is the deck that I used, which very obviously is going to be the Kid Starter deck. So for those of you who couldn't go or didn't know, the event you had to specifically be using one of the first 4 starter decks, and I actually will be going over the deck list momentarily, because I haven't really had the chance to look at the starter decks on the channel yet, just as starter decks. And yeah, so I went with Kid because mostly due to, if you've noticed the channel, green is the color I'm leaning towards the most, so I wanted to just get my green stuff already, but also in the starter deck limited environment, green kind of was the go-to. So I did actually very well. I'm happy with how it went. The first tournament I got, I believe, 3rd place. I only lost to a mirror match, and I lost to my now friend who wound up winning the event. So congrats to him, and it feels good at the very least that I lost to the person who won the thing. Day 2, however, I again entered at the second event that I went to with Kid once again, and I managed to walk away with the winner promo Luffy. So I managed to walk away with a win for the second event that I got to, and I am so happy about that. This card just looks so clean in person, and I'm just so happy that the short YouTube grind paid off, and I was able to walk away with at least one of the winners promos. So I'm feeling very, very good about that. The Luffy just looks so, so clean. And on top of that, we also got some other goodies. Because of how I live in New York City, so because of how packed it is, every single event was well beyond capacity. So despite Bandai saying everybody should have had the chance to walk away with one deck to enter with and be able to buy the other 3 colors, so for one of each color, every event players were only allowed to get 1 deck per. So for the first tournament, I entered with green, and I was able to get a Kaido start deck still in its box. The second event, I got green again, but my locals were cool with it, so they just let me use my original green deck from the first event, so this one is still in mint condition. And I once again got purple because purple is the other color I'm most looking forward to. However, because of the odd numbers that we got, there was actually a raffle. So for whoever won the raffle, they were able to actually pick up 1 more deck. So I did actually win the raffle. By the time the raffling started, there was only 2 purples and like 6 greens. I was very surprised by how many greens there were left over. So I got like 4th or 5th in the raffle, so purple was already gone, so I wound up picking up another green. But I have all of these still in their the mint condition, and I might actually do a giveaway with these, if I'm being honest, once the channel hits a decent sub count. And then the other things you get for entering, for each event you get you get a promo pack of 5 different promos that have been floating around, and the promo Luffy, which is just the winner's Luffy, just not as nice looking, and I got these for both of the events. These are still in their packaging. Again, might do a giveaway, might open these up on the channel. I really don't know. If you guys have any ideas of what you would prefer to see or what you would want me to do, please comment down below. But without further ado, I'm going to go over finally into the green starter deck, just to go into a bit of what you get in the green starter deck, because again, I haven't looked at the starter deck as a whole on the channel yet as well, because the limited deck battle format will be coming up soon. Knowing what's in green will be good if you haven't had the chance to go, but you still want to buy the unfortunately inflated price of the start decks. So again, the leader is Kid, whose effect is you can pay 3 and discard a card to restand him. So very powerful leader. If you're a long-time watcher of the channel, you know I kind of underestimated this in the beginning, but the amount of times where I just pumped a bunch of things under it and restood it, so we just attacked for 12k twice, and that clinched games for me, was just innumerable. Fantastic card. I love the restand. It's so fun. Now into what you get in the deck itself. You get 2 copies of the 7-cost SR Kid, who is a blocker, and his effect is, while he has 1 Dawn attached, at the end of your turn you can set him as active, so you can attack for 8k and then restand into block with next turn. Very, very good card. That's why it's at 2. It's very, very worthy of the SR slot. If you're planning on playing green for the limited deck battle, I don't think you need me to tell you to get 2 more of these for the playset, but get 2 more of these for the playset. Next, the other SR is going to be 2 copies of Trafalgar Law, the other SR, and actually I don't know if you could tell, but on camera you can see that they actually have a little hot stamp right here to show that they are the super pre-release cards, and I actually believe that the leader is also, beyond just having the hot stamp, this is an alt art, and that the actual starter decks, when they come out, are not going to look like this, so that's why I really like these starter deck cards. But Law, another great card. 5 costs, 6k power. On play, you can set a character that is a supernova or a heart pirate with cost 5 or less as active. So being able to just, if you don't want to use Kid, you can just pump up a very key cost 4 or 5 card and then just play Law and get a multi-attack with that. Law is a fantastic card. Another one that you don't need me to tell you to get the playset of if you're planning on playing green in limited deck events. Next, we have 2 copies of Basil Hawkins. I'm a bit sad that this only came with 2 because Hawkins is a phenomenal card, who's a 5-cost, 6k slash attribute, Dawn 1 once per turn. During your turn, if it battles an opponent's character, you can set it as active, so it's really good for cleaning up board states to get rid of problematic cards and still get multiple attacks in. So this is a fantastic card. This is another one you're absolutely going to want 4 copies of. I was playing in a green mirror match, and in all 3 games we played, neither of us ever saw Hawkins in any game, and we were both sitting there like, yeah, if either of us saw even 1 Hawkins, the game really would have shifted. In the game that I lost in my first tournament, I lost because in another green mirror match, I played Hawkins. My opponent used Straw Sword, which can rest Hawkins, and then he attacked into Hawkins, who I couldn't protect, and not having Hawkins after I played him just completely ruined my tempo for the game. So Hawkins is a fantastic card. In structure deck formats, you are absolutely going to want to playset. Also in the starter deck, you get 4 copies of Kobe, who is your average vanilla, so 4 costs 6k with counter 1000. This was actually quite good. With this deck, just being able to hit numbers in the limited environment is quite important. So being able to just consistently beat for 6 every turn is very, very helpful, both for cleaning up gummy board states, but also just getting numbers into your opponent, because putting 1 underneath Kobe means unless your opponent has an event that gives 4k, they're going to need to use at least 2 to block the leader, because at 7k Kobe, your opponent would require a 2 and a 1. So a 6k vanilla is actually quite solid. And next, you also get 4 copies of Diaz Drake, who is a 4-cost 5,000 power, another fantastic card. Dawn 1 during your turn, if he is rested, your supernovas and navy leaders and characters all get 1,000. This counts himself, which is very important, and because it also counts the leader, it can go into restanding your kid. And because it counts himself, he's effectively a native 7,000 attacker who is phenomenal. And the fact that he also works with Navy means he does work with Kobe, so you have this incidental synergy where 1 Dawn can make both of these 7k, which Drake is another fantastic card. This is a card I would say you'd want to max out on, but at the very least you actually get to max out, so Bandai knew what they were doing with this at the very least. So Drake, fantastic card. He also has 1,000 counter on him, so being able to just have that makes him so good for the deck, and he is easily one of the MVPs. Next, we have 4 copies of Vito, 3 cost, 5k, 1 counter vanilla, who's a fire tank pirate. He's a vanilla. Vito is actually pretty fine because the fact that for 3 cost he can natively hit leaders is quite helpful, only in a starter deck format. But this is definitely a card that I wound up being glad that I had a lot more than expected. It's definitely going to get cut out of the deck very quickly, but I am glad that I had it for the event. It actually did help me win my very, very last game of the night because I had 2 vetoes on board. So having, with Kid Ree standing 4 cards that could attack for 7,000 really, really helped in that final swing. So Veto wound up being a lot more helpful. So it's going to be a shame that he's going to have to get kicked out for not being a good card. Next, the starter deck also gives you 2 copies of Killer, who is a 3-cost 3,000 slash attribute. Counter 1,000 on play. KO one of your opponent's characters with cost of 3 or less, and trigger, you may play this card. So this is a fantastic card. I wish they gave you 4 of it, but they don't because it's a trigger. Every time I saw it, it really came up and was helpful. Triggering it is so good. The fact that he's a supernova means he has incidental synergies with something like Drake. So this is a fantastic card, one you're going to want to get 4 of if you get a second starter deck. And next, you also get 4 copies of Scratchman Apu, who is a 2-cost, 3,000 power, Dawn 1 when attacking. Rest one of your opponent's Dawn cards. You use it because it has counter 2,000 and that's it. I might have played him one single time across 2 4-round tournaments, and that was it. You use them for the counter and no other reason, but the counter is fantastic, so it's good enough. Next is more vanillas. We have 4 copies of Heat, who is a 2-cost 4,000, counter 1,000. He's a kid pirate, not a supernova, so he's going to get cut as well, especially because he has that low base power. Next, they give you 2 copies of Urus. This is another one that I do think you're going to want to be increasing, at the very least, just for starter deck metas. It's a 2-cost 3,000 strike attribute, counter 1,000. If you have 3 or more cards, while he has a Dawn attached, he gets 2,000 power. What's great about this is this effect does work on both players' turns, so I did mess some people up by having him be a 5,000 base, which is very, very nice. But also, when he's attacking during your turn with the Dawn, he's effectively a 6k attacker, provided you have the board, which is very helpful, and he becomes 7k if you have Drake on board, because he's a supernova. So having this at 4 in a limited environment is a must. And then, at the very least, Bandai knew what they were doing with this one when they gave us 4 copies of Bonnie. A fantastic card, 1 cost 1,000 power, counter 1,000 for some reason, whose effect is pay 1 and rest yourself, check top 5, reveal a supernova, add it to your hand, bottom of deck the rest. Kid mirrors are usually decided by who sees the most Bonnies. There are some times where that doesn't come up, but just Bonnie is so good. Her effect is so strong, just that the consistency you get, the free resources basically, because it's only 1 cost, the ability to use it early, the fact that she's a 1 cost means she effectively works with Urus this is such a fantastic card. There's really nothing to say about her that hasn't been said if you haven't seen a single other video that involves the color green. Next, 4 copies of Capone Gang Beige, who's a 1-cost, 1 power special attribute. He's a blocker. He's a 1-cost blocker, 4 of and no less than that. And he's a supernova, so he's searchable off Bonnie. Next, the last character is 4 copies of Beppo. It's the cost 1 vanilla, so cost 1, 3,000 power, counter 1. Mink Heart Pirate, so he's restandable with the 5-cost law. This is getting cut because the vanilla just isn't worth it. And lastly, on to the events. They give you 4 copies of Repel, who is pay 2 to counter, give a character or leader 4,000 power, and then set a Dawn as active. What's nice about this is because it sets the Dawn as active, if you have 2 Repels in hand, you only need 3 Dawn at the end of your turn because you pay 2, go down to 1, use Repel's effect to get 1 back, and you have 2 left, and then you can use that second Repel, which is a strategy that absolutely helps just to get that extra 1k at the end of the turn. This will drop once we get set 1 because Punk Gibson is just so much better being able to rest a thing, but this actually wound up being very, very helpful, and it's just really nice in a limited environment being able to use Dawn on cards that you're going to restand, and that extra one that you effectively save with Repel is definitely helpful. Next, they also give you 2 copies of Scalpel, which is the same thing but for 1 cost and 2,000 power instead of 2 cost and 4. And Trigger, you can set 2 of your Dawn cards as active. Part of me feels like you do want to up this just because it's another 2,000 counter, because in the main deck you only have the Apu. But with Repel, I don't really know what the point is. I'm still a bit unsure of what I'm doing with my limited deck battle list. But this comes up, and the fact that it's free means, if similar to the last situation, if you have Repel, you can end a Scalpel. You can end your turn with 2 Dawn, use 2 for Repel, get 1 back, and get that Scalpel. So there's a lot of really neat interactions like that make it a neat card, but really not that good. And the last card you get in the starter deck is Straw Sword. 2 cost, rest an opponent's character, any cost, which is very important. And Trigger, you can play a Supernova with cost 2 or less from your hand for free. I have seen it in the Trigger zone. I've never wanted to use the Trigger ability because that main effect is just too good. You're probably going to want to up this one to 4 because the only means of control the green list has is attacking your opponent's characters. So if your opponent has a key character that you want to hit, Straw Sword is the only way to do it, provided they don't attack. So this is just a very good card in the limited environment. It's really nice with Hawkins, because you play Hawkins, next turn you use Straw Sword to rest a thing, give Hawkins a Dawn, attack it, and then stand Hawkins and either attack again or keep it up to protect him. So Straw Sword is another really good card, and it's a Supernova, so it is searchable off Bonnie. And then lastly, as you get with every starter deck, they do give you a playset of the generic Dawn. So, yeah, that is the green starter deck that you get with... you get this with every green starter deck, even when we are getting the official release. It isn't the super pre-release stamped ones. The contents will be the same, maybe minor art tweaks, but other than that, the deck list is the same, so this is what you expect. And I just want to give a big shout out to everybody who was there. I was at the Waypoint Cafe NYC on Friday night, which I believe was October 1st or September 30th. And I was also at the Silk Road Gaming Cafe, also New York City, on Sunday, October 2nd, and that's when I went to both of the events. So if by sheer coincidence any of the guys that I met there subscribed to the channel and didn't realize it when we met, good to see you again. And I think that's going to wrap it up. The event was super, super fun. I will try to, now that I have physical cards, get a deck list for the limited deck battle. I registered, so hopefully I get in. And because the limited deck battle, it isn't just a single starter deck like the super pre-release. You can use 2 and promos if you have them. So I will probably do a deck profile for what that looks like. There will definitely be some changes. The initial obvious changes is to cut the vanillas. One of the big problems I had with the green deck list is so many cards just don't work with other cards. Drake works with Supernovas and Navy, for example. There's only 1 Navy and Kobe, and there's plenty of non-Supernovas. Like, Heat is a Kid Pirate, so he doesn't get the buff from Drake. Vito is a Fire Tank, so he doesn't either. So there's a lot of things like that that just... There's a lot of non-bows for the deck that you want to clean up just so you can have that consistency, not even just because of the power. Like, if Heat and Vito were Supernovas, I could see them actually being run. Other things is Law only restands Heart Pirates and Supernovas, so you want to max out Supernovas like Hawkins to restand them. So there's definitely tweaks that this is going to make. I'll get that profile up soon. Hopefully I'll be able to get more content for everybody. I'm trying to record some games that I play online and recording them. Hopefully, I can start recording some games I play maybe over webcam. That would be cool. Let me know what videos you would like from me because I'm still having some trouble coming up with ideas. Based on view counts, reviewing cards as they come out really hasn't been that popular, so I'm probably going to wait until the sets are fully released and do a complete batch review of every color like I did with set 1. Let me know what you would like to see. If you have any ideas of what you want me to do with the starter decks I found, like do a giveaway if I reach like 1,000 subs, or if you just want me to flip them and make some money, because apparently the starter decks are going for like 80 as the super pre-release version, so I might, save money for when set 1 drops, but that's about that. I again just want to thank everybody at Waypoint Cafe and Silk Road Gaming for hosting the events. They were so much fun. I want to thank everybody that I met there. Want to thank myself for winning the game. Thanks, YouTube Grind. And then, thank you all for watching. I will try to get more content out as time goes on, and I will see you in the next video whenever it may be. And I will see you then.